You cannot ask the question and answer it.
Honorable Speaker, let me prosecute. I'm trying to prosecute my point of order. In my view, vacant seat should not be counted in determining the voting threshold. Further, I wish to seek your clarification on whether our proceedings are varied in the right of the 4 vacant seats. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. You've made your point. Bashir?
Honorable Speaker, Article 145 and 150 of the Constitution provides for removal of the Deputy President. Our standing order goes to great length on the same to explain the procedure for removal of the Deputy President, as stipulated under Standing Orders 64 and 65. Honorable Speaker, what is clear from reading of Articles 145 and 150 of the Constitution is that the role of this House is just to pass the resolution as to whether the Deputy President shall be impeached or not. It is the exclusive role of the Senate to conduct the trial process. Simply put, we are the initiators and the Senate will be the trial house. Honorable Speaker, consequently, I seek your guidance on whether it is necessary to invite the Deputy President to this House in terms of the right to be heard, noting we have nothing to do with the real process. In my view, the Deputy President shall be required to appear before the Senate, but nevertheless, I seek your indulgence on this matter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, we'll leave it there. Yes, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I don't intend to anticipate the debate.
I will not allow you to.
Yeah, because this is just a notice of motion. But, Mr. Speaker, there are matters that surround the notice of the motion that needs your guidance and action, Mr. Speaker, because, Mr. Speaker, this is a very momentous issue. Because, as you are aware, when this country gave itself the new constitution, Mr. Speaker, Kenyans were very happy. And this is one of the moments in this House, Mr. Speaker, when we are going to exercise Article 150, which has not happened before. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very important matter for this nation, Mr. Speaker, that is being exercised through this House. But having said, Mr. Speaker, as you're aware, there are members from our side and members from the other side who have signed to this petition, to this motion, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to get your assurance as the boss of this House, as the leader of this House, as the Speaker of this House, Mr. Speaker, that the 291 members of Parliament who have signed to this motion, Mr. Speaker, their safety and security will be guaranteed, Mr. Speaker. Because the motion does not end at the tabling, at the notice of motion today. It will go through a process. It will be formally again moved. Members will debate, and members will vote on it. Mr. Speaker, we want those 291 members of Parliament to turn up here the day of voting, Mr. Speaker, without missing any one of them, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have just passed the new Inspector General of Police the other day here, Mr. Kanja. Not really. He must take responsibility as the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Speaker, to guarantee the safety, as the Inspector General of the country, Mr. Speaker, to guarantee the safety and the security of the 291 members. Mr. Speaker, you know this thing. What we are doing is not a small thing, Mr. Speaker. When Trump was being removed, was being impeached in the United States, Mr. Speaker, you know what he attempted to do. And what can happen here, you know, Mr. Speaker. And let us not fight, let us not begrudge anyone, because what the House is doing is constitutional, because the House is just exercising its mandate. It's not doing anything outside the Constitution. There is nothing unconstitutional that's happening in this House, Mr. Speaker. You can impeach a cabinet secretary. You can impeach a deputy president. You can impeach the president if you wish so. So, Mr. Speaker, this is an exercise that is given to us by the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker,
You've made your point.
I have made my point, but I conclude by saying this, Mr. Speaker. That, Mr. Speaker, when we were elected, Mr. Speaker, as members of Parliament, we became the staff of the Parliamentary Service Commission. Each member here, Mr. Speaker, their employer, they are employees of the Parliamentary Service Commission, which you are the chairman, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I have spoken on behalf of the members because when they were signing, that is what they told me, Mr. Speaker, as the minority leader. They told me, we are in support of this thing, we are really ready to move, but we want things done legally and procedurally and within the Constitution, inside Parliament and outside Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I don't want to open debate. Yes, Whip, what's your point of order?
Honourable Speaker, I also seek your guidance and indulgence on the notice of motion that has just been tabled here today, because we all agree that post-2010 Constitution, this is unprecedented. In as much as it happened years back, this is very new, post-2010 Constitution, and we will need a bit of some guidance. Ordinarily, Honourable Speaker, any motion that is brought before this House and that is of public interest goes through the entire process, including public participation, Honourable Speaker. I need to seek your guidance and indulgence on the place for public participation as far as this notice of motion is concerned. Because looking at the jurisprudence that has been made by the courts and the lower legislative arm, which is the county assemblies, on the impeachments of the governors and deputy governors, Honourable Speaker, you'll realize and notice that many impeached governors or their deputies challenge their impeachment based on the process of public participation, Honourable Speaker. This is unprecedented, and of course it's my view that to replicate the same, to what happens on the impeachment of governors and deputy governors, and they invoke the element of public participation across the country.
You've made your point.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Majority Leader. Before you, Majority Leader, Farah has been raising his hand. I'll give you 1 minute, Farah.
Mr. Speaker, I also join the other colleagues in this, but I've just one very important, most important in this country to raise. Not only do we have to protect the lives of 291 members of parliament who have appended their signature there, we must also protect the system. The IG must protect our president to the hilt. Because you know the kind of a constitution we have. Any reckless thug can decide to change the course of history if, God forbid, anything were to happen to our president. You get my point? And there are people who we have been so worried lately, I get the feeling that they can even have the capacity to plan something like that. Let us make sure this information goes out. Our president must be protected to the hilt until this motion is over. Because if, God forbid, anything were to happen, then we have something much bigger to worry about.
Thank you.
And those guys are...
You're the last on that.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. My Honourable Speaker, if you will indulge me, I'll add something on security. But before that is on Standing Order 85, Honourable Speaker. 85-2, which, Honourable Speaker, would beg, even as you guide members, that members listen, that it shall be out of order to anticipate the debate of a motion of which notice has been given by discussion upon a substantive motion or amendment and all that is said in the standing orders, Honourable Speaker. And I say this, Honourable Speaker, because I know we are in an open and transparent society, and many of us will be invited to media stations to discuss this impeachment motion which notice has been given today. Just to caution members that it will be completely out of order to discuss the substance of the motion in media stations before debate, as is contained in our standing orders. So when we're invited to media stations, maybe we be guarded in what we discuss, so that we do not go into the substance of the motion until we are done with debate. After debate, Honorable Speaker, we are all at liberty to discuss, and that includes, Honorable Speaker, both those who have appended their signatures, like myself, and the other few who have not appended their signatures, Honorable Speaker. The 58 members who have not appended their signatures. Honorable Speaker, just to add on to what the Honorable Farah and Honorable Junet have said, Honorable Speaker, the security of members of Parliament is paramount. Honorable Speaker, I say that looking at you.
Members, let's go to the next order. I'll come back to communication in a little while. Call out the next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much.
Clerk, we have quorum. We'll call out.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
Honorable members, those on their feet, take your seats. Member for Hamisi, take your seat. Take the nearest seats, honorable members. Honorable members, I have 2 communications to make. One is a recognition of a delegation from the Senate of Nigeria. Honorable members, I wish to introduce to you a delegation from the Senate of Nigeria who are seated in the Speaker's row. The delegation comprises members of the Committee on Constitutional and Electoral Review and Committee on Women Affairs. They are Senator Patrick Ndubweze, MP, leader of the delegation, Senator Kau Sumaila, MP, the Honorable Miriam Odinaka, MP, the Honorable Tajuddin Karim, MP. Honorable members, the delegation is accompanied by 4 parliamentary staff and 1 official from United Nations UN Women who are seated in the Speaker's gallery. The delegation is in the country to benchmark on strategic interparliamentary relations and to share experiences pertaining to parliamentary practices and to gain deeper insights into legislative processes as well as gender-responsive legal reforms. Honourable members, on my behalf and that of the National Assembly, I welcome them to the Parliament of Kenya and wish them fruitful engagements during their stay in the country. I thank you. Members at the bar, take the nearest seats. Members, let's go to the next order. I'll come back to communication in a little while. Call out the next order.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, October 01, 2024. 1. Annual report on financial statements of the Kenya Tourism Board for the financial year 2022-2021 from the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. 2. Audit of the financial statements for the Office of the Auditor General and Staff Car Loan and Mortgage Schemes for the financial years ended 30th June 2018, 30th June 2019, 30th June 2022, 30th June 2021, and 30th June 2022. 3. Performance audit report on management of cash and domestic debt by the National Treasury for September 2024 from the Office of the Auditor General. 4. Performance Information System Audit Report on the Pensions Department Management Information System for September 2024 from the Office of the Auditor General. 5. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2024 and the certificates therein respect of the following institutions: Central Bank of Kenya, Public Sector Accounting Standards Board, and Capital Markets Authority. 6. Reports of the Auditor General and financial statements of the National Government Fund, NGCDF, for Subukia constituency for the year ended 30th June 2023 and certificates therein. 7. Reports to Parliament on all new loans contracted by Government of Kenya from 1st May 2023 to 31st August 2024 from the National Treasury and Economic Planning. And finally, Honorable Speaker, annual performance report for the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises MSMEs Credit Guarantee Scheme for the period from 1st July 2023 to 30th June 2024 from the National Treasury and Economic Planning. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to lay.
Leader of Delegation, the Honorable Gladys J. Boss, MGH, Deputy Speaker. You have a paper to lay? Go ahead.
Apologies, give me a minute. They're bringing it from my office.
Okay. Next order. Six. Oh, okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Yes. Honorable Shalay, how quickly is your paper coming? Okay. Okay, go back to Members on their feet, take your seats. Take your seats. Order, honorable members. Done. Honorable members, I have a second communication to make. Honorable members, I have a communication on a notice of motion for proposed removal from office by impeachment of Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable members, pursuant to Article 151B of the Constitution and Standing Orders 64 and 65, I wish to notify the House that I'm in receipt of a notice of a special motion dated Thursday, 26 September 2024, and received on Friday, 27 September 2024, from the member for Kibwezi West, the Honorable Ekomas Mwengi Mutuse MP. The Honorable member seeks a resolution of the House for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, AGH, as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable members at the back, take the nearest seats. The nearest, Clive. Yusuf, the nearest seat. Okay. Honorable members, Article 150B, 1B of the Constitution provides as follows, and I quote, "The Deputy President may be removed from office on impeachment, 1, on the ground of a gross violation of a provision of this Constitution or any other law, 2, where there are serious reasons to believe that the Deputy President has committed a crime under national or international law, or 3, for gross misconduct." Honorable members, the notice of the special motion by the member for Kibwezi West seeks a resolution of the House for the removal from office by impeachment of our Deputy President on the grounds specified under Article 151B of the Constitution and sets out the particulars in respect of each ground. Honorable members, the special motion before the House presents an unprecedented constitutional moment in our democracy. Without doubt, it summons this House to test for the first time under the 2010 Constitution the provisions of our Constitution relating to the removal from office by impeachment of the Deputy President. It will be recalled that during the term of the 6th Parliament, on 27th April 1989, the then member for Embakasi, the Honorable David Mwenje, successfully moved the House to pass a vote of no confidence in the then Vice President and Minister for Home Affairs, the Honorable Josephat Karanja. The motion received an affirmative resolution of the House. Honorable members, it's instructive to note that upon the promulgation of the new Constitution of Kenya in August 2010, the then office of the Vice President assumed a new clothing as the office of the Deputy President. This new clothing embedded in it a new manner of election, assumption of office, and removal from office of the second in command. Whereas the previous Constitution conferred upon the President the power to appoint and remove the Vice President, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 shifted the removal of the Deputy President to Parliament. This lays the ground for the notice of the special motion by the member for Kibwezi West. Honorable members, Standing Order 64.2 relating to removal by impeachment requires the Speaker to dispose of a special motion within 3 days of receipt of notice by a member. Standing Order 64.2 as read in the light of Articles 259, 5 and 6 of the Constitution gives the Speaker the deadline of today, Tuesday, 1st October 2024, to notify the House of receipt of the special motion and its admissibility or otherwise. Honorable members, having notified the House of the special motion, I'll now highlight the preliminary procedural and legal requirements relating to the processing a special motion for removal from office by impeachment of the Deputy President. Members at the bar, take the nearest seats. Take the nearest seats. Honorable, take your nearest seats. Order. 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 Wamumbi, take the nearest seat. Order, honorable members. Order. Order. Honorable members, Article 152 of the Constitution, order. Article 152 of the Constitution provides that the provisions of Article 145 of the Constitution shall apply with the necessary modifications the removal from office by impeachment of the Deputy President. In particular, Article 145(1) of the Constitution provides that a member of the National Assembly supported by at least 1/3 of all the members may move a motion for impeachment of the President on the grounds of gross violation of a provision of the Constitution or any law where there are serious reasons for believing that the President has committed a crime under national or international law or for gross misconduct. Procedurally, Standing Order 64(1) provides that before giving notice of a motion under Article 150 of the Constitution, a member shall deliver to the clerk a copy of the proposed motion in writing, stating the grounds and particulars in terms of Article 145(1) of the Constitution upon which the proposed motion is made, signed by the member and signed in support by at least 1/3 of all the members of the House. Further, honorable members, Standing Order 64(1)A lays out the criteria for admissibility of grounds for removal from state office. For clarity, Standing Order 64(1)A states, and I quote, "The grounds specified in a motion under this standing order shall be admissible if A, framed clearly to particularize and disclose a gross violation of the Constitution or other written law, where gross violation of the Constitution or other written law is indicated as a ground for the intended removal. B, stating with precision the provisions of the Constitution or other written law that are alleged to have been grossly violated, where gross violation of the Constitution or other written law is indicated as a ground for the intended removal. And C, accompanied by necessary evidence, including annexures or sworn testimonies in respect of the allegations. The foregoing procedural and legal requirements for the processing special motions are buttressed by precedents and jurisprudence in various speakers' rulings and court decisions. Honorable members, today, I refrain from restating the jurisprudence and focus on determining the admissibility of the notice of the proposed special motion filed by the member for Kibwezi West. In determining the admissibility of the special motion, I am required to examine its form, threshold, framing of the grounds, and the